Hi all, welcome to the channel Cloud Knowledge. Today in this video we'll study about import of a data file or a flat file from Blob storage center account in Azure to Azure SQL database using insert and OPENROWSET together. So in the previous video we have studied about the bulk insert, and this video we are going to study about the OPENROWSET function along with insert. So here on the screen you can see the steps. First one is to create master key for the database if it is not already created, because this is for encryption purpose. In the previous video we have already created the master key, so we'll skip this step. But if you're performing these steps new, do execute this command for encryption. Then next option comes the database scope credential. So this scope credential, for creating the database scope credential, here's the command where we have to write create database scope credential, the database scope credential name, the identity through which we are going to access that storage account, that is the Blob storage. Here we are using shared access signature, then the secret or the SAS token. So we'll copy this command. Okay, we'll go to the SQL database. So let me take you to the Azure SQL database here. Here we are using the same SQL database, SQL which we have been using in the videos, different videos. So we'll open a new query. We'll paste this command here. To verify that the master key is created or not, we'll also execute this command. Let me just show you here. So it will give you fail to execute this query because there is already a master key. Okay, just showing you so that we're sure that the master key is there for this database for the encryption. Then the second step is this secret or the SAS which we are using is for the Blob storage, and the Blob storage, and for that Blob storage we have to create the SAS token. So we'll go back to the storage account. The storage account in use will be Cloud Knowledge. In the storage account we have to go to the security and the networking settings where we have this shared access signature. Here we will allow the resource types. So since this is for demo purpose, we'll allow all. We'll let the start and end date be today and take it till tomorrow. Allowed protocols, will make it both HTTPS and HTTP, and click on generate SAS and connection string. So if you click on it, it will generate the SAS token. So we'll copy the SAS token. We'll go to the query. Here we'll paste the SAS token. Okay, and we'll run this command. Run it. Query succeeded. Now we'll go back again to the notepad. The second step which we have, so the second step we have done after the master key database scope credential is created. Now next is the creation of the external data source. So the command for external data source is create external data source, the external data source name, okay, which we have given on our own, with, then in the with clause we have to give the type. The type is Blob storage, the location of the Blob storage. So if we go to the storage into account Cloud Knowledge, it's the Blob storage. We'll go to the storage browser, we'll go to the Blob containers where our file resides. So it's inside the input folder. Okay, here our file resides which we are going to use. It will be employee CXV. And where to get the path? The path is present inside the settings. We have to go to the endpoints. In the endpoints for the Blob service we have this URL Cloud Knowledge, that is the name of the ADLS gen2.blob.co.windows.net. same we have copied here, and we have added input folder because our file resides inside the input folder. So we'll go back to the storage browser in the Blob containers inside the input folder. Make sure you add this input. Then the credential is the database scope credential. For creating the external data source we need the database scope credential. The same credential name we'll give here. We'll copy the syntax or the command here. Go to the SQL DB. We'll open a new query. We'll paste the command and execute it. This also succeeded. Now we'll go back. The next is the important command of insertion and OPENROWSET. Now next is the insert and the OPENROWSET command. Here is the total command. Insert into the Azure SQL database table. But let me first show you the input folder and the data which is present inside the employee.csv. Let me view or edit it. So here in this employee.csv we can preview that it has two columns, ID and new ID, and has 3 rows. So these 3 rows we want to get added into the SQL database. In the SQL database, this table schema should be present. So here in the target database, we have this dummy table. If you select this dummy table and go to the results, it will show ID and new ID. Okay. If you don't have it, just create the table by saying create table, the table name as dummy or whatever name you want, and the column should be ID and new ID, so that the data from the data file or the flat file is inserted. So that's why we have given insert into the table name. In the table name in the SQL database is dummy with clause tab lock. You can study in detail. In the coming videos, we'll study about tab lock and other identities of this syntax. Then ID and new ID are the column names which are present inside this dummy table. Then we have select star from OPENROWSET function. In the OPENROWSET function, we have to define in bulk what file we have to pick from the storage account. So it is employee.csv at the blob storage, the data sources, blob storage EDS which we have created above, external data source. Then the format is CSV file. Format file we have to define. When we are using OPENROWSET function, we have to define the format file. We can study more in detail about format file, and format file data source is also the same blob storage. Okay, that is the external data source. Let me take you to the official documentation for the format file. So here we have create an XML format file. So these are the steps which are given, and if you go to the official documentation page by Microsoft under the SQL Server 2022, format files for importing exporting data is given. Here the XML format files are there, non-XML, use a format file to bulk import data. This is the command which you have to execute in command prompt, and the XML will be generated. And the details about this XML is given here. If you go here, sample XML format, how the ordering is done, how the fields are generated, what each field signifies. So if you go to the Visual Studio Code, this is the XML which we are using, where the type and the name of the column is given. The name of the column first is ID, then new ID, it is of which type, and here the collation is defined. And this is the XML file which we are going to upload at the storage account here. So if we close here and we have this employee.xml file, just go to the three dots on the right side and click on view and edit. You will see the same file over here. Okay, this is having ID and new ID, and in the syntax we have this employee.xml. Since it is present in the same data source, we have just given the name. Okay, this looks fine, and we will now copy this entire command, go to the SQL DB, and now currently in the dummy table we don't have data, but now after execution of this command we should expect data loading. It gave an error. It says bulk load data conversion error, type mismatch or invalid character for the specified code page. So for the column ID, there is a type mismatch. It might have been due to int and the varchar. So this is just conversion type error. Data loading should occur. Let's just verify. So we'll go to run, and yeah, we can see that the data loaded still, but due to the conversion error, only the type mismatch will occur. That we can correct either at the table level. We can change the type, data type for the int ID field, or we can go to the XML here, which we have seen, right? Here also we can change the type from SQL int to SQL varchar. Okay, and if we go here and execute it again, we'll see that the same error occurred, and in the dummy table again the three rows are added. So this insert and OPENROWSET is working correctly. Only this conversion error you can rectify later. So our intent of importing the flat file data into the SQL table using insert and OPENROWSET function is accomplished. Hope you have understood this video. Do let me know in comments if you have any queries. Happy learning. Thank you.